Hello, listeners, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pulse Report. We're your hosts, Maryam.
And Anaya. And in today's episode, we're going to be focusing on the human body respiratory system. More about how we can get oxygen and remove carbon dioxide, as well as how it all ties to energy use.
Now, I know that this might seem boring. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, who cares about that? But wait until the end, and you'll be surprised at just how surprising and interesting the system can be.
Now, first and arguably most important, let's define what the respiratory system is in the first place. Miriam?
Generally speaking, the respiratory system is the collection of organs and body structures that allow you to breathe. It's made up of many components.
These include the lungs, nose, and even the mouth, as well as the connecting airways between them.
That's the main gist of it. To expand on this even further, the main parts of the respiratory system include the mouth and the oral cavity, the nose and nasal cavity, the sinuses, throat, voice box, windpipe, which is also known as your trachea, bronchi, which are large airways, the lungs, and the diaphragm, which is a muscle directly below the lungs.
That's really detailed. But before we can go more into detail about each of these structures later on, let's take a look at the bigger picture. Why is this body system so important?
That's a great question, Anaya, and it all comes down to a few key reasons. To start off with some of the less obvious ones, you will be surprised to learn that the respiratory system actually protects our body from infection. Now you may be wondering how that works.
It's really interesting. So, pretty much, the nose and nasal cavity act like your body's first line of defense. Tiny hairs, called cilia, and sticky mucus trap dust, pollen, and harmful microorganisms before they can travel deeper into the lungs. Sneezing and coughing are also protective reflexes that help remove irritants from the airways.
Beyond protection, though, the respiratory system has one major job: gas exchange. In simple terms, that means bringing oxygen into the body and getting rid of carbon dioxide.
And oxygen isn't just something that's nice to have, it's absolutely essential. Our cells use oxygen during aerobic respiration to produce ATP, which, as we discussed back in our first episode, is the body's main source of usable energy.
Without enough oxygen, cells can't make ATP efficiently. Certain tissues, especially the brain and heart, are incredibly sensitive to decreases in oxygen supply. That's one reason why breathing is something our bodies prioritize every second of every day.
So, how exactly does oxygen get from the outside world all the way to our cells? Let's follow the pathway of a single breath.
It starts when you inhale through your nose or mouth. If the air enters through the nose, it's warmed, humidified, and filtered before continuing its journey.
From there, air passes through the pharynx, which is also known as the throat. Then it travels to the larynx or waste box, which not only helps with breathing, but also helps us produce sound.
Next comes the trachea, or windpipe. The trachea contains rings of cartilage that help keep the airway open so air can move freely.
The trachea then divides into two bronchi, one leading into each lung. Inside the lungs, those bronchi branch repeatedly into smaller and smaller tubes called bronchioles.
At the ends of those bronchioles are tiny air sacs called alveoli, and this is where the real magic happens.
Alveoli are microscopic structures surrounded by networks of capillaries. Their walls are only one thick cell, allowing gases to move across them by diffusion.
Oxygen moves from the alveoli into the blood because there's a higher concentration of oxygen in the lungs than in the deoxygenated blood arriving from the heart.
At the same time, carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the alveoli because its concentration is higher in the blood. Once inside the alveoli, that carbon dioxide can be exhaled out of the body.
If that sounds familiar, that's because it ties directly into our previous episode about the circulatory system.
Exactly. The circulatory and respiratory systems work together constantly. The circulatory system delivers deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs through pulmonary circulation. After gas exchange occurs, oxygen rich blood returns to the heart, where it can be then pumped throughout the entire body.
Red blood cells play an important role here too. Hemoglobin, the protein inside RBCs, binds to oxygen in the lungs and transports it to tissues that need it.
Once oxygen reaches body cells, those cells use it during cellular respiration inside the mitochondria.
During aerobic respiration, glucose and oxygen are used to generate ATP. ATP provides energy for virtually everything our bodies do. This includes muscle contractions, as well as nerve impulses, building proteins, and maintaining homeostasis.
The process also produces carbon dioxide as well as waste product. The carbon dioxide enters the bloodstream, travels back through the lungs, and is eventually exhaled.
So every breath you take is connected to energy production at your cellular level. Breathing isn't just about filling your lungs with air, but it's also helping power your entire body system.
But breathing itself also requires muscles. The main muscle responsible for ventilation is the diaphragm.
The diaphragm is a muscle that's dome shaped and located beneath the lungs. When it contracts, it flattens downwards and increases the volume of your chest cavity.
That increases in volume lowers pressure inside the lungs, allowing air to flow inward. This process is called inhalation.
During normal exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and returns to its dome shape. The chest cavity decreases in volume, pressure rises, and air flows back out.
During exercise or forceful breathing, additional muscles between the ribs, called intercostal muscles, can assist in moving air more frequently and efficiently.
Speaking of exercise, have you ever noticed that you breathe faster when you're running?
That's because your muscles demand more ATP. To produce that extra energy, they require more oxygen and generate more carbon dioxide.
In response, your breathing rate and depth increase. Your heart rate also rises so oxygen can be delivered more quickly to active tissues.
It's another example of body systems working together to maintain homeostasis, even as your activity levels change.
And now it's time for our Myth of the Week bonus.
Our first myth is if you're breathing, you're only using your lungs.
That's actually not true. Breathing depends on multiple systems working together. The respiratory system brings in oxygen, the circulatory system transports it, and the muscular system powers the movements that we need for ventilation.
Here's another common misconception: carbon dioxide is just a useless waste gas.
While excess carbon dioxide does need to be removed, it actually plays an essential role in how we maintain our blood pH and it helps regulate our breathing rate. Specialized receptors in our body monitor carbon dioxide levels and signal the brain to adjust how quickly we breathe.
In summary, the respiratory system allows us to take in oxygen, remove carbon dioxide, protect against airborne threats, and support the production of ATP.
From the nose and trachea to the bronchi, alveoli, and diaphragm, each structure has a specialized role that contributes to efficient gas exchange.
And perhaps most importantly, every breath connects directly to the energy that keeps our cells functioning and our bodies alive.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Pulse Report. We hope you learned something new about the respiratory system and discovered just how closely breathing is connected to every aspect of your life.
Until next time, keep asking questions, stay curious, and don't forget to appreciate the thousands of breaths your body takes each day without even thinking about doing it.
Have a great day!